Welcome back to Redneck's Dirty Hands. I'm Pete, and today we're going to be working on this 2010 Skidoo 1200. This one here belongs to a buddy of ours, Keith, friend and rocking one of our logos on his sled there. But this one here, it's got a mystery issue. It's got an oil leak. Park it in his uncle's garage, just sits there, big old puddle of oil underneath it. No explanation why. He could ride it, doesn't really leak a whole lot, so I do believe this one here has the issue of the oil tank is leaking on the back of the motor there. And this fella's never had one of these apart, so this could get pretty interesting. So I suggest you grab a couple cold ones, pack a lunch. Looks like we're about to step in a big old pile of dew here. All right, yes, Keith, we are finally going to be working on your, what is this? BRP product, burning rings and pistons since 1959. Also making people walk home. No, just kidding. That was the two-stroke ones, you know. Those two strokes, basically, you pull the pin as soon as you buy them, and it's a ticking time bomb. Who knows when that sucker's going to grenade. But these four strokes are pretty good. Well, except for the issue this one has. But BRP, Skidoo, whatever you want to call it. Bombardier. Outside of Quebec, we all call them bombardiers. You know what I'm saying? Don't you know? But yeah, this one here, the Skidoo Renegade X 1200. The engines are reliable, but this sucker here has a mystery. Let's see, get this panel open here. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's an engine in there somewhere. Pull this guy out of here. And then this one, lift it up off of that pin up here. And wiggle this sucker out of here. Alright, so the belt guard's out of the way there, so we can kind of see, although you can't really see much of nothing in behind there. But like I said, this one here, it's got a oil leak happening on it, and in behind, there's your oil fill there, and that is part of a plastic oil tank that is mounted to the back side of the engine. And I guess it's got like some round ports with some O-rings, and it just pushes on there, but you cannot service that in the machine. Apparently what happens is, because it's a plastic tank, it warps around those O-rings and it leaks. So yeah, that's just awesome. Like, who designed something like that? You know, the saying goes a long time ago that a mechanic screwed an engineer's wife, so the engineer's been screwing the mechanic ever since. And that is proof right there. Like, why they would make that tank out of plastic, I got no idea. Anybody that knows, if you've ever had a Can-Am quad, like those 650s, 850s, or the 1000s, they got the plastic rocker covers on the engines there, and they all warp and they all leak. So, yeah, let's make an oil tank on the back of a snowmobile engine that you cannot get to out of the same plastic. So, hey, it'll warp and leak, and yeah, you got to take your entire snowmobile apart to fix that. Nice one. BRP, Bombardier, Can-Am, Bombardier, whatever, whoever they are. They're a huge company, man. They make airplanes. They fly around in the sky like this is highly engineered crap. I hope these guys are like the apprentice level. They're not got nothing to do with those airplanes, because I would only trust my Silverado to go somewhere. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have like every single tool I own laid out around here, because I got to blow this thing right apart. Seat, gas tank, upper shroud, jack shaft, fluids, hose, exhaust, everything. There's going to be a mess of crap everywhere, just so we can yank that sucker out of there, get that plastic tank off, get it reseal. The dealer, they give you new O-rings for it, and they say just goop those O-rings up when you put it back in, because they know, yeah, it's probably gonna leak again. Like, oh, lots of confidence in this repair. Oh, man. Well, I guess we will start by yanking the belt off, and then we'll get everything else out of the way. And you know, in your belt guard, you get a pouch with all these tools. And for these Skidoos or whatever, this fancy little tool here, it's got a little threaded bolt. You can stick it in here, and then you thread that in, and it pushes the sheave back on the secondary, so you can get the belt off. But if you know it's a new to you sled and you don't have that, or you lost it, or it's broken or whatever, and you don't have the bolt to push that in, you can just grab her with your man hands and stuff her in. The belt drops in all on its own. You don't have to, you know, hold on or anything, and then you just pull the belt off. Just like so. Now, like I said, I've never had one of these apart, so this is all new to me, man. And even figuring out how to get the seat off is like, I don't know. But then if you, right down in the very front, you pull the cushion back, there's a little plastic tab. It's part of the seat. You lift up on that, and the whole seat just slides back. And then off she comes. I might have to just clip to a time lapse because this is going to take a while figuring out how they freaking do all this. And even these things here, like fancy little plastic guards. I'm probably going to break a bunch of this stuff. I'm sorry, Keith. Well, at least now we can see the motor. There is one in there. That's quite the header pipe he's got in here too. I mean, holy jeez. That although should have a big turbo hanging up in here. That right there, that's a 1200. I mean, I just got a 973 in that one, and then like Billy's and the Sidewinders and all. They got the 998. You put a big dirty turbo on a 1200, I bet she just makes some serious horsepower. So might have to talk to Keith about that, but. Yeah, so far, I mean, I don't know if I was taking that thing apart right or not, but I mean, pulled the cluster out, unplugged all those things, and they snuck out through there. That all came out as one unit. I'm surprised, not a single nut or bolt or screw I've had to do yet. It's all just pull apart, you know, it's like Lego. So, I mean, I guess I'd hate to see if one of these hit a tree, because if you could just pull these things apart by hand, yeah, there'd be shrapnel everywhere, but... So far, it's coming apart not too bad. So I got to pull, I guess, those risers off of there. Then we'll disconnect, get that gas tank all out of the way. Gonna have to pull that jack shaft and everything. These ones are a little tricky. I'm pretty sure might have to undo like that bearing plate or something. And I think you got to go through the chain case on the other side. And I think there's a bolt way in there or something. Oh yeah, there's lots of interesting things going on here. And I'm gonna have to pull that header pipe off. I don't know if this didn't have a header pipe, if it was just a stock exhaust, if you could leave that, you know, the main pipe on and not have to, but this thing goes spaghettis right around the steering column, all that, so it's definitely got to come out. So I guess we'll just keep motoring, man. But so far, I mean, it's not that bad, but who knows? We're just started. Well, we can see the oil tank there now, but still can't get it out. It'd be nice if you could just pop the intake off and get that oil tank off, but that's not how it works. It goes way down in there in between the tunnel. So we still got to carry on yanking this thing right out. I mean, this is just one thing after another. I knew I was going to have all my tools out everywhere, but yeah, getting the intake off wasn't too bad, except for went all the way down with an 8mm, get out of here, socket to undo all the bolts on the intake. Dicked around with that for about 15 minutes until I realized, yeah, there's a tiny little Torx that holds the bottom. Okay. Yeah, right down in there. So can't really see it until you like lean down and look down in there. It's like, oh yeah, that's why it ain't coming off. It was sitting there flopping and it's like, oh, well, it's loose. Why the heck won't it come off? That is why. So if you got to pull the intake off of your 1200 Skidoo, there is a little Torx bolt on the bottom of that sucker. So once I got that off, it came out no problem. So now we can get at the other hoses. We'll finish off the electrical, and then we shouldn't be too far from yanking this thing out. These exhaust bolts, though, this thing is just ridiculous. Like, there's a tiny little 10 mil down in there. That's a 1/16 of a turn at a time. Another one down in there. It's like impossible to get a wrench on. Nice one. And then same over on this side. Another one way down under there. Can't really get a socket on. So that's going to take a better part of my afternoon here now. So yeah, back to the time lapse. We'll get some more crap off of here. Much left of that. There's a big old hole where the motor used to be. We got her out on the bench. Now, I should have waited for McLeanski or something to come over to give me a hand because, yeah, 4 strokes are reliable, but that thing is freaking heavy. I blew a nut lifting that out by myself. I'm not the smartest fella here, I don't think. So, anyway, whatever, my back hurts. That's out. I got, undo those 3 bolts, I guess. That's that tank. That's what I mean. Like, the thing... Taking the intake off, you can only see from there up, and I mean, there's that whole section still drops down, so you do got to yank her all out. Now, I'll pull that off, and then I guess this thing, once you undo those bolts, it just should lift off, and then we can see the O-rings. I'm guessing there's one over here, and then there's going to be 1 or 2 or whatever down there. I don't know, but we'll pull that off and see, and we'll just carry on. Come on. This thing should just pop off of there. Should pop off. Not popping off. Might need a little persuasion. Give me that pry bar. Come here, sucker. Oh, yeah. That's the oil tank off and removed. There's 1 port there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. Corresponding ports in the motor there, so it does just kind of clip in there. You can see there's signs of oil all on the back side of this thing, so whether it was leaking around those 2 O-rings there, or there is a little bit of a sign of a trail coming down there. I guess there's an issue of the seam possibly cracking and leaking on these tanks too, so I was just gonna goop the seam and put new O-rings and goop them all up, but I mean, this thing here is such a pain in the arse to do, and I mean, you gotta, like, look at it, there's not even a snowmobile left there. You gotta strip it right down to nothing. So I phoned the dealer. I mean, the whole tank is only like $150, and then some new O-rings or whatever. So because of this, you know, labor-intensive job, I'm just going to put a new tank on it with new O-rings, call her good, because there's no signs of any oil leaks on the bottom of her. So, I mean, it's got to be coming from those O-rings or the tank itself. So that's what we're going to do. Keith, you are getting a new oil tank. Well, we're playing the waiting game now. I mean, it's Friday now. Dealer's not going to have that tank in until Wednesday or next week or something like that. So, fingers crossed, hopefully I don't forget where all that stuff goes to put it all back together. Usually I like to stay fresh, you know, but at least they can get me the tank. There's no supply chain issue with that, but yeah, we just got to wait and see, and then hopefully it goes back together. Didn't really, so far, not too bad. Only a couple hours in to get it to this point, so as long as I don't forget where all this crap goes, should only be a few hours putting her back together once I get the parts, so stay tuned. All right, well, unfortunately, the power sports side don't deliver like Napa does, so we made it down the highway to Gateway here. We're going to go in, pick up the oil tank and the other parts, and carry on. All right, made it back from Gateway there. First time ever being in that place. It's not a bad outfit they got going on there. But anywho, got the new tank in the bag there. Picked up oil change kit while I was there. And then we got the replacement O-rings for this kit. So, yeah, hopefully got the fancy 040 oil straight from the dealer. Genuine Rotax oil filter, that's nice. A little bit different than the kits for the Arctic Cats and the Sidewinders. They give you a paper funnel. I don't see no funnel in here. You get 4 liters of the good stuff. And yeah, get the O-rings, crush washer. No paper funnel. Well, they cheaped out on that one, but oh well, I can't have everything, I guess. So, one trip there, what do we got? Nice one. That oil change kit, 4 liters and some O-rings, $109 basically. This tank, $158. Those O-rings, $20 each. Like, I don't know, I might have to bite one of those. They made of gold. But I guess it is what it is. I don't know, maybe I should have just right stuffed it instead. It would have been a lot cheaper. That's $346. And then, of course, the tax man's got his hand out, another $45 on top of that. So, you know, just shy, $10 or $9 shy of $400, $391 for all that. But, I mean, you got to take it right apart. So, right stuffing would have been cheap, like that stuff for a small tube, or even I think the big tubes are $50. You could use a whole tube on the tank and the O-rings and save yourself some money. But I don't know, I'd cry if I put it all back in there and it was still leaking. So at least we got no excuse. It'll have all new stuff in here. If it's still leaking, we know it ain't gonna be the tank and the O-rings. So yeah, sorry Keith, I mean, it is what it is. I don't make the prices up, I just put the parts on, man. So I'll do a good cleanup, get the swamp out of there, and get that all nice and shiny and clean before we go ahead and put everything back on the motor and put that back together. That way we'll be starting with a clean slate and hopefully, fingers crossed, no more leakies. All right, well, thanks to the magic of time-lapse photography and my good buddy McLeansky for giving me a hand putting that back together. She's back together all in one piece, and zero leftover bolts, screws, or springs. Like, everything went back where it's supposed to be, and that's been apart for a little bit. You know, I apologize to my buddy Keith there. I know he was here today with his uncle picking up his Skidoo 700, and I think he was a little bit bummed out that his wasn't ready yet. But I mean, you know, I got tons of other work on the go. I'm trying to fit stuff in as I can, but, you know, all apologies, Keith. We're going to get you back on this thing. It's snowing right now. Maybe you'll have her back tomorrow, but she's ready to go. All in all, not that bad of a job, but, you know, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. You got to strip the whole thing apart to get the motor out to change that oil tank, but apparently for those years, it was a common issue. You know, I think they fixed it. I don't think they have that issue anymore, but for these, I don't know if it's 9, 10s, whatever. But this one's back together. All we got to do is run it, give it a heat cycle, make sure the coolant level and the oil level's all good. But yeah, we should be good to go. She's powering up. And she's a runner. Nice one. Hopefully, no leaks. Just purring away. Nothing dripping. So now that she's all back together and up and running, no leaks, we're going to give her a bit of a shakedown and whatnot. But Keith's been pretty patient. He's a good friend and fan of the channel, supporter of Redneck's Dirty Hands there. And, you know, I didn't get this back to him as soon as I could have. So, you know what? I called up my buddy Nick at Nick Dark Designs there, and I said, this thing's kind of plain Jane looking, you know. It's all just blank white, you know, shiny and all. You know, they got the red and black and the, you know, the fancy X going there. So it's not that bad, but it is pretty plain Jane as far as I'm concerned. So I think if he's going to be sporting a Redneck's Dirty Hands sticker on it, we can come up with something better than that, can't we? Nick, all he said was, hold my beer. And just like that, oh yeah, baby. That is a beauty wrap there, Nick. Thanks, buddy. You know, our brother Nick at Nick Dark Designs, he makes all of our stickers, and he never ceases to amaze me what he can do. Look at that Redneck's Dirty Hands, gotta like it. The red and black, white, matches the stock seat. This thing was already red, white, and black. And, of course, my winders, red, white, and black. It's kind of our thing, so, yeah, she looks way better now than it did before. Keith, I hope you like it, man. If you don't like it, Keith, maybe I'll buy it off of you because I kind of like it now, man. Once again, thanks, Nick, buddy. You helped us out. That thing looks sweet. Keith, I hope you like it. That's kind of like a sorry your sled took so long, but it took longer than I thought. So how about a free wrap? Now we just got to make sure everything's topped up, fluids are good, coolant, all that jazz. Runner, get her hot, you know, make sure that it's not going to overheat or anything, and take it for a rip. It's snowing right now, so in the morning, test her out. We did get a bunch of snow last night, so pulled it outside, ran it, checked the coolant. Level seems to be good, oil level's good, so we'll see if we can go break some trail with this out back. Now, this thing should be pretty good at breaking trail. I mean, the track on this thing's a mile long, so yeah, let's go for a cruise. that thing looks even better outside in the snow and works pretty good too. Keith, I think you're gonna be happy with it. Going for a ride out back there. There's a lot of snow back there. I figured this thing would be no problem in the deep snow being long track and all that, but I almost got stuck. I thought I'd be walking, you know, but I just treated it like a Friday night and went right to the bar. Stood on the one side board. She pulled out of there, no problem. Works pretty good, man. I'm kind of impressed. Ride's nice and smooth too, so hopefully no more oil leaks. The coolant level's good, you know, everything should be good. All in all, not too bad of a job, and she's a good looking sled now too. So Keith, I hope you're happy with it, and as always, thanks for tuning in. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. You know, it helps us out. We enjoy doing all these videos and working on the stuff. So as always, take her easy.